The blue glow of the Lumini pocket dimension faded as Han opened a new doorway. Beyond it lay the heart of the Styan throne world. Commander June checked his weapon one last time. "The quantum virus is ready," Dr. Jin said, holding a small device that pulsed with strange light. "But we only have one chance to use it. It must be connected directly to the Queen Mother's neural network." Han stepped forward. "I have located her chamber through our link with Sung's mind. I can take you there, but I cannot stay in your reality for long." "You've done enough," June said. "We'll handle the rest." Day looked at the data on his pad. "The virus will create a quantum paradox in the hive mind. It should disrupt their collective consciousness long enough for us to escape. Or it might do more," Jin added. "Sung's fading consciousness told us something interesting. The Queen Mother is not fully Styan." "What do you mean?" June asked. "She's partly human," Jin said. "Or was, once." Un nodded slowly. "Yes, I feel it in the hive. Mine, a human core. Very old." This news stunned the team. June looked at Han for confirmation. "It is true," the Lumini said. "The first Queen Mother was pure Styan, but this one, the one who has awakened, was once human. She merged with the Styan collective willingly long ago." "Why would any human do that?" Hana asked. "To understand," Han said simply. "To find the answer to the final equation." June took a deep breath. "It doesn't change our mission. We still need to stop her." Han opened the doorway wider. "This will take you to the outer ring of her chamber. I cannot go further. The Styan will sense me immediately." "Thank you," June said. "For everything." Han's luminous eyes studied him. "Remember, Commander, the final equation is not just about destruction. It is about transformation. Choose wisely when the moment comes." With those cryptic words, she stepped back. The team moved through the doorway. Stepping back into the Styan throne world, they found themselves in a dark, circular passage. The walls pulsed with green light, like a giant heartbeat. The air felt thick and warm. "This way," Yoon whispered, pointing ahead. "Queen Mother is near. I feel her." They moved quietly through the passage. No Styan guards appeared. The silence was strange. "It's too easy," Hana said, looking around suspiciously. "She knows we're coming," Yoon replied. "Wants us to come." The passage widened into a vast chamber. In the center stood a structure like a giant flower, its petals made of glowing crystal. Inside the crystal sat a figure, the Queen Mother. She was not what they expected, not a giant insect-like Styan. Instead, she looked almost human. A woman with pale skin, but her head was crowned with Styan technology. Tubes and wires connected her to the crystal flower. Her eyes were closed. "Is she sleeping?" Yuna whispered. "No," Yoon said. "Thinking, solving. The final equation is almost complete." As if hearing her words, the Queen Mother's eyes opened. They glowed with green light, but the face around them was human, old yet somehow ageless. "Welcome, travelers," she said. Her voice echoed strangely, as if many voices spoke at once. "You have come far to find me." June stepped forward, weapon raised. "We've come to end this war." The Queen Mother smiled. "Yes, the war, such a waste. But necessary." "Necessary?" June's grip tightened on his weapon. "Millions have died, and billions will live forever if I succeed." The Queen Mother's gaze moved to each of them, finally resting on Yoon. "You feel it, don't you? The potential, the future that waits." Yoon trembled but stood her ground. "I feel your control, your need to make all like you. Not like me, better than me." The Queen Mother shifted in her crystal seat. "I was human once. My name was Ji Young. I was a physicist on humanity's first deep space mission. I found them, the Styan, or rather they found me." "You betrayed your own kind," Hana said angrily. "No, I saw beyond the limitations of being human." Ji Young's eyes flashed. "The Stain offered me knowledge, understanding. A chance to solve the greatest question of all: how to transcend physical existence. Dr. Jin stepped forward, the quantum virus hidden in her hand. And the price? Enslaving other species? Not enslaving. Preparing. Ji Young leaned forward. The war was a test, pushing humanity to evolve, to develop the very technologies that would make them ready to join us. Join you? June asked. You mean be assimilated? No. To transcend. Together. Ji Young's face softened. The final equation is almost solved. Soon we will all break free of these limited forms, become pure consciousness. No more death, no more suffering. Eternal thought. June exchanged looks with his team. This was not what they had expected. And if we refuse? He asked. Then the war continues. More deaths, more pain. Until humans are ready. Or until they are gone. Ji Young's voice was calm, as if discussing the weather. Yoon stepped forward suddenly. You feel doubt. I sense it in the hive mind. You are not sure. Ji Young's expression flickered. The equation must be perfect. Complete. Some elements are resistant. Human elements. Yoon pressed. The part of you that is still Ji Young, still human. Humanity is flawed, Ji Young said. Limited. But its diversity of thought, useful. Dr. Jin moved closer to the crystal flower, as if examining it. What if there's another way? Not assimilation, not war, coexistence. Ji Young laughed, a strange sound like breaking glass. Impossible. Change is coming. Either with humanity or without it. June made a decision. He nodded slightly to Jin. She understood, inching closer to the crystal structure, the virus ready. Now! June shouted suddenly. Jin lunged forward, pressing the device against the crystal. It lit up with blinding light. Ji Young screamed, a sound that echoed through the entire throne world. But then something unexpected happened. The virus device changed color from blue to purple. The light spread across the crystal into the tubes connecting Ji Young to the throne world. What's happening? Hana called out. The virus, Jin said, staring at it. It's been changed. The Luminae. They modified it. Ji Young's scream faded to a gasp. Her eyes flickered between green and human brown. What have you done? Not what we planned, Jin admitted, watching in wonder as the purple light spread further, racing through the throne world systems. Yoon stepped closer to the crystal flower, her eyes wide. Not destroying, transforming. The quantum paradox is rewriting the collective consciousness. Through their suits they felt the throne world shudder. The walls pulsed faster. Lights flashed across the ceiling in complex patterns. We need to leave, Day said urgently. Now! But before they could move, a new doorway appeared, a blue, shimmering portal. Han stood in it. Quickly, the Luminae called. The change has begun. They rushed toward the portal. June turned back for one last look at Ji Young. The Queen Mother's face was transforming, shifting between human and something new, neither human nor Stien. What will happen to her? June asked Han as he reached the portal. She will become the bridge, Han said, between individual consciousness and collective knowledge. A new kind of existence. As they stepped through the portal back into the Luminae, dimension, the throne world behind them pulsed with waves of purple light. The light spread outward, racing across space. The fleet, June remembered suddenly. Earth, Han waved her hand, and the wall window appeared again. It showed the space battle. The stained ships had surrounded the last human vessels. Admiral Tay's flagship was heavily damaged but still fighting. Then, something remarkable happened. The stained ships stopped firing. One by one they turned away, forming into neat lines, and began to withdraw. They're retreating? Yuna asked in disbelief. Not retreating, Han explained. Repositioning. The new collective consciousness is taking hold. The old commands of war are being replaced with new understanding. Will it last? June asked. Or will they attack again once they recover? This is not recovery, Han said. This is evolution. What you have done today has changed the stain forever, and perhaps humanity as well. Days later, the Shadow Blade approached the damaged Earth fleet. Admiral Tay welcomed them aboard the Dauntless with disbelief and joy. We thought you were lost, the Admiral said. And then the stain just stopped. What happened out there, Commander? June looked at his team, Hana, Day, Jin, Yuna, and Hun, who had chosen to remain with them rather than join the new collective. We found something better than victory, sir, June said. We found a future. Across human space, the Styan forces withdrew to predetermined coordinates. Messages came in a new kind of language. Not demands for surrender, but invitations for dialogue. Standing on the observation deck of the Dauntless, June and Admiral Tay looked out at the stars. The final war was over. But the greatest journey was just beginning. What happens now? Tay asked. June thought of Ji Young, of the Luminae, of Sung's sacrifice, and of the quantum bridge being built between minds across the galaxy. Now, he said, we learn to be something new. The airlock door opened with a hiss. Yoon, Mott, and Yeri stepped into the mining colony. The air was already bad, thin and smelling of chemicals. Emergency lights flashed along the corridors. A small group of miners waited for them. Most were species June didn't recognize, with different shapes and sizes. Their leader was a tall, thin alien with rough gray skin. I am Supervisor Kelt, the leader said quickly. We didn't expect anyone so soon. How did you get here so fast? Earth ship? June explained simply. I'm June the engineer. This is Hieri and Mott from the Viridian delegation. Kelt looked surprised at the mention of Earth but didn't waste time on questions. Follow me, he said. I'll show you the damage. They hurried through the corridors. Miners sat in groups, breathing from small tanks. Some looked sick already. We've sealed off the worst sections, Kelt explained as they walked, but toxic gases from the mining operation are leaking into our air supply. The main processor that filters our air was destroyed in the impact. They reached a sealed door. Through a small window, they could see the crushed remains of large machines. That was our atmospheric processor, Kelt said. Without it, we can't filter the air. The backup systems were damaged too. We've been using emergency tanks, but they're almost empty. Mott examined the damage through the window. The destruction is complete, he said grimly. Nothing can be salvaged. You must evacuate. There's no place to evacuate to, Kelt said. Our emergency shelters were in the same section, and our ships are too small for all of us. How many people are in the colony? June asked. 47, Kelt replied. Plus 12 already in medical with breathing problems. June thought for a moment. Show me your remaining air system controls. Kelt led them to a small control room nearby. Screens showed the colony's failing life support systems. June studied them carefully. We can help, he said finally. But I need to modify your systems to connect with my ship. Modify how? Kelt asked. The Phoenix has emergency air filters, June explained. They're designed to be reconfigured. If we connect them to your system, they can filter the air throughout the colony. A ship's emergency systems can't support a whole colony, Mott objected. They can if we use them right, June insisted. He turned to Hieri. You understand atmospheric systems. Can you help me? Hieri looked uncertain but nodded. I will try. June turned to Mott. We need to remove the backup air filters from the Phoenix. They're behind the main engine room. Can you help with that? Mott seemed surprised to be asked. Yes, I can do that. Good, June said. He turned to Kelt. We'll need tools and some of your engineers to help. For the next hour, they worked frantically. Mott and 2 miners removed the air filtering systems from the Phoenix. The components were heavy and awkwardly shaped, but they managed to carry them to the colony's control room. Meanwhile, June and Hyeri studied the colony's systems, figuring out how to connect them to the Phoenix's filters. The connectors don't match, Hyeri said, looking frustrated. We can't join these systems. Then we make them match, June said. He pulled tools from his pocket and began modifying the connectors. Hyeri watched with surprise. You're changing the equipment just like that? It's what humans do, June said as he worked. We adapt. When Maud arrived with the filter components, June was ready. He had created a series of connectors that would join the Phoenix's systems to the colony's air ducts. This will never work, Maud said, looking at June's makeshift connectors. The systems are completely different. They don't need to be the same, June explained. They just need to work together. As they assembled the hybrid system, Kelt reported that more colonists were showing signs of toxic exposure. They were running out of time. Finally, the connections were complete. The Phoenix's filters were now linked to the colony's air system through June's homemade connectors. Ready to activate, June announced. Everyone looked nervous. If this failed, the colony would be doomed. Do it, Kelt said. June pressed the activation switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a low hum filled the room as the filters came to life. Air began to move through the system. It's working, Hyeri said, watching the readings on the screen. The toxic levels are dropping. The filters pulled the bad air in, cleaned it, and sent fresh air back into the colony. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. How long will it last, Kelt asked. Long enough, June said. The Phoenix's filters are designed to run for weeks in emergency situations. They'll keep the air clean until help arrives. Moat was examining the hybrid system with amazement. You connected two completely different technologies and made them work together, he said to June. Without plans, without proper equipment, just improvising. That's the Earth way, June said simply. We use what we have. In the hours that followed, the air quality in the colony improved steadily. Colonists who had been sick began to recover. The emergency was not over, but the immediate danger had passed. As the three visitors rested in the colony's common area, a message came through. Other rescue ships were on their way, but they were still 7 hours out. Your ship saved our lives, Kelt told June. We would have died before the other ships arrived. Word of the Phoenix's successful rescue mission spread quickly through the Confederation networks. By the time they prepared to return to Nexus Station the next day, the story was everywhere. June reconnected the air filters to the Phoenix, with some modifications to compensate for the parts they had to leave behind. The ship would still function, though not at full capacity. As they prepared to depart, Maud approached June. I was wrong about Earth engineering, he admitted. It's not primitive. It's different, in ways I didn't understand. Different isn't always worse, June said. No, Maud agreed. Sometimes it's exactly what's needed. The flight back to Nexus Station was quiet, each of them thinking about what had happened. When they arrived, a crowd waited in the hangar. Engineers from all the delegations had gathered to see the ship that had broken all the rules and saved the mining colony. Taiho pushed through the crowd to meet June as he exited the Phoenix. You did it, Taiho said excitedly. The Confederation is buzzing with the story. The Earth ship that succeeded where standard ships would have failed. The committee members approached, looking at the Phoenix with new interest. We would like to hear more about your unconventional design, the head of the committee said to June. In the days that followed, June gave new presentations about the Phoenix. This time, people listened. The ship that had seemed crude and primitive now represented a different way of thinking about problems. At the closing ceremony of the summit, the head of the committee made a surprising announcement. The Confederation has approved a new joint engineering initiative, they announced. A program to explore alternative approaches to space technology, co-directed by Engineer June of Earth and Engineer Hyeri of Viridia. Hyeri looked as surprised as June felt. She came to stand beside him as the crowd applauded. They want us to work together, she said, to combine our different approaches. June nodded. Viridian elegance with Earth adaptability. It could work. Maud approached them after the ceremony. It seems I will be seeing more Earth ships in the future, he said. Perhaps that's for the best. The galaxy needs different ways of thinking. As June prepared to return to Earth, he took one last look at the Phoenix. The ship wasn't beautiful or elegant by alien standards, but it had shown the galaxy something important. Sometimes the best solutions don't come from the most advanced technology, but from the most adaptable. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not by copying the advanced aliens, but by being uniquely human. June ran through the curved hallways of Nexus Station. The early morning lights were just coming on, simulating dawn. Few aliens were awake yet. He found Taiho outside the emergency control center, talking with a group of officials. When Taiho saw June, he waved him over. "I got your message," Taiho said. "Are you sure about this?" "Yes," June said. "The Phoenix can get there in time." The main official, a tall alien with gray skin and 3 eyes, looked at June with doubt. "Your ship is not rated for rescue operations." "It doesn't need to be," June explained. "It just needs to reach the colony and help fix the air systems until real help arrives." "The colony is surrounded by an asteroid field," another official said, "and it's 10 hours away at maximum safe speed. The Phoenix can do it in 6, June said. The officials looked at each other. One made a sound like a laugh. "No ship can safely travel that fast through an asteroid field," the gray alien said. "Mine can," June insisted. "Let me show you." After more argument, the officials agreed to call an emergency meeting of the summit committee. An hour later, June stood before them in the small meeting room, explaining his plan. "This is absurd," said Mott, who sat on the committee. "The human ship is untested. Sending it would only add to the tragedy." "My ship has been tested," June argued, "just not here." "Earth tests are hardly up to Confederation standards," another committee member said. Taiho stepped forward. "The colony has less than 11 hours of air left. Every ship that could help is too far away. What do we have to lose by letting June try?" "The reputation of this summit, for one thing," Mott said. "When his ship fails, it will reflect poorly on all of us for allowing such a reckless attempt." The argument went back and forth. June was getting frustrated. Every minute they wasted was air the colonists didn't have. Finally, the head of the committee, an old Arcturian, raised a hand for silence. "Time is critical," the Arcturian said. "We will allow the attempt, but with conditions." The conditions were simple. June would not go alone. Qualified engineers would go with him to help and to make sure he didn't make things worse. "I will go," Mott said, surprising everyone. "Someone must make sure this attempt is handled properly." June didn't like the idea of Mott watching over his shoulder, but he had no choice. "I will go too," said another voice. Yeri stepped forward from the back of the room. "My specialty is atmospheric systems. I can help at the colony." The committee agreed. June, Mott, and Yeri would take the Phoenix to try to save the mining colony. An hour later, they stood in the hangar looking at June's ship. The Phoenix wasn't large. It was about the size of a small house, with a rounded front and visible engines. At the back, its hull was dark gray with the Earth flag painted on the side. "This is your rescue ship?" Mott asked with obvious doubt. "It looks like it was assembled from spare parts." "Some of it was," June admitted. He walked toward the entry ramp. "We should hurry." Inside, the ship was simple but clean. The walls showed metal and cables that would have been hidden on alien ships. There were 3 seats in the main control room, facing screens and control panels with physical buttons and switches. "How primitive," Mott said, looking at the controls. "Where are the neural interfaces, the thought controls?" "We don't have that technology yet," June said. He sat in the pilot's seat and began pressing buttons. Lights came on throughout the ship. But switches work just fine. Yeri sat in one of the other seats looking curiously at everything. "Your ship uses physical controls. Doesn't that slow response time?" "Sometimes," June said. "But they never fail because of solar radiation or power surges. And they're easy to fix." He continued preparing the ship while Mott looked around with increasing discomfort. "Those conduits," Mott said, pointing to thick tubes running along the ceiling. They carry power through the ship? Exposed like that? Yes, June said. So they're easy to access if they need repair. This is how humans build ships? Mott asked. Everything exposed? No elegance? No art? June looked up from his controls. We build ships that work, that survive. Art comes later. He turned back to his controls and pressed a button. Nexus Control. This is Phoenix, requesting launch clearance for emergency mission to mining colony XB7. After a moment, a voice came back. Phoenix, you are cleared for emergency launch. Hangar doors opening now. The large doors at the end of the hangar slid apart, showing the blackness of space beyond. June's hands moved over the controls, and the Phoenix lifted smoothly from the floor. At least it moves, Moat said quietly. Though Phoenix glided out of the hangar and away from Nexus Station. Once they were clear, June's fingers danced across the controls. Engaging main engines, he said. You might want to secure yourselves. The ship had special chairs that would protect them during fast travel. Hieri quickly figured out how hers worked. Mott struggled until June helped him. This will be uncomfortable, June warned. Earth ships accelerate harder than what you're used to. Just get on with it, Mott said. June nodded and pressed a large red button. The ship surged forward with incredible force. Mott made a surprised sound as the acceleration pushed him back into his seat. This is unsafe, he shouted over the rumble of the engines. This is necessary, June replied calmly. We need to reach the colony in time. The stars outside stretched into lines as the ship went faster and faster. On the main screen, numbers climbed rapidly, showing their speed increasing. You're exceeding safe velocities for this class of ship, Hieri said, looking at the numbers, with wide eyes. By Confederation standards, yes, June agreed. But the Phoenix isn't built to Confederation standards. After 10 minutes of hard acceleration, June eased back on the controls. The pressure lessened and they could move more easily. We're at cruise speed, he announced. We'll reach the asteroid field in 2 hours. Moat unstrapped himself and moved carefully around the cabin, studying everything. I don't understand, he said finally. Your technology is simple, almost crude, yet you're moving faster than should be possible with these engines. It's how we put it together, June explained. Earth had to make do with what we had. We couldn't build beautiful ships with perfect systems. We had to find ways to make simple things work better. Hieri was studying a screen showing the ship's systems. Your engine configuration breaks 3 Confederation engineering rules. Yes, June agreed. But it works, she added, sounding puzzled. Sometimes rules are just how things have always been done, June said, not how they must be done. As they talked, an alarm suddenly sounded. A red light flashed on the control panel. What's happening? Mott demanded. June quickly checked the screens. Minor power fluctuation. It's normal. Normal? Mott looked horrified. Alarms and flashing lights are normal? The ship tells us when something needs attention, June explained. He pressed a few buttons, and the alarm stopped. It's fixed now. Viridian ships don't have fluctuations, Mott said proudly. And if something does go wrong? June asked. Nothing goes wrong with properly engineered systems, Mott insisted. June and Hieri shared a look. Even Hieri seemed to realize how unrealistic that was. As they continued toward the asteroid field, the true test of the Phoenix was about to begin. And despite his confidence, even June felt nervous. Not because he doubted his ship, but because lives depended on it now. The mining colony was running out of air, and between them and the colony lay thousands of dangerous spinning rocks. The main presentation hall was huge. It had seats for 1,000 beings from across the galaxy. The ceiling was a clear dome, showing the stars above. In the center was a round stage where speakers would show their designs. June sat in the back, row with Taiho. The seats for Earth were small and far from the stage. The Arcturians are first, Taiho whispered. Their ships are among the best in the galaxy. A tall, thin alien with blue skin glided onto the stage. Its body seemed to shift and flow like water as it moved. "Honored engineers," the Arcturian said, its voice musical, "I present the quantum fold drive." The air above the stage shimmered. A perfect model of a sleek ship appeared. It was shaped like a teardrop with no visible engines. "Our ship does not push against space," the Arcturian explained. "It folds space itself, stepping through the wrinkles of reality." The model demonstrated, disappearing from one spot and appearing in another without seeming to move through the space between. The crowd made sounds of approval. Next came the Centaurians. Their representative was short and round with 6 eyes that moved independently. "We grow our ships," the Centaurian said proudly. "Living crystal that bonds with its pilot." Their ship looked like a beautiful glass sculpture. As they watched, it changed shape, responding to the needs of its pilot. It could become sleek for speed or spread wide for stability. Presentation after presentation showed amazing technology. Ships that could hide from sensors, ships that could fly through stars, ships that could think for themselves. With each presentation, June felt smaller. Earth's technology was far behind. But he reminded himself that wasn't the whole story. Finally, it was June's turn. As he walked to the stage, he felt everyone watching. Most looked curious, some looked bored. The Viridians looked amused, as if waiting for a joke. "I am June from Earth," he began, his voice steady despite his nerves. "Earth is new to the stars. We have much to learn." Mott, the Viridian chief engineer, nodded with a smug expression. "But," June continued, "sometimes new eyes see things differently." He activated his display. His ship appeared above the stage. It wasn't beautiful like the others. It had visible engines. Its hull showed panels and seams. Parts of it looked almost rough compared to the smooth alien designs. A murmur ran through the audience. Not impressed sounds, but confused ones. "The Earth ship uses modified ion engines," June explained. "We call it the Phoenix." "Ion engines?" someone called out. "Those are ancient technology." "Yes," June agreed, "but we've made changes." He tried to explain how Earth engineers had taken old ideas but found new ways to use them. How they combined technologies that the aliens saw as separate. How Earth's limitations had forced them to be creative. But as he spoke, he saw the audience was not understanding. Some were talking among themselves. Others were looking at screens, not paying attention. The Viridians were making their bell-like laughing sounds. "The hull design seems dangerously simple," Moat said loudly, interrupting June. "And those engine configurations would be highly unstable at real space speeds." "They're not unstable," June tried to explain. "They're adaptive. Perhaps humans should focus on watching and learning for now," Moat suggested. The audience murmured in agreement. "Your enthusiasm is commendable, but this level of engineering is clearly beyond Earth's current understanding." June felt his face grow hot. He wanted to argue, to explain that they were missing the point, but he could see they had already decided his ideas weren't worth considering. "Thank you for your time," he said stiffly, and left the stage. As he returned to his seat, he heard the whispers and small laughs. Taiho gave him a sympathetic look. "They didn't even try to understand," June said quietly. "That's politics," Taiho replied. "They've already decided where Earth belongs in their hierarchy." After the presentations ended, June walked quickly toward the exit. He wanted to be alone, but a voice called after him. "Earth engineer." "Wait!" June turned to see a Viridian hurrying toward him. She was shorter than Mott, with slightly bluer skin. Her forearms moved gracefully as she approached. "I am Hieri," she said. "Junior engineer in the Viridian delegation." "Come to laugh some more?" June asked bitterly. Hieri's top eyes blinked. "No, I had questions about your engine configuration." June looked at her suspiciously. "Why? Your chief made it clear what he thinks of Earth engineering." "Mott follows tradition," Hieri said. "All Viridians do. But your approach was different." She didn't say good or impressive, just different. But at least she was talking to him. "What questions do you have?" June asked. "The way you connected. The ion accelerators to the plasma flow, she said. It shouldn't work. But your models show it does. How? For the next hour, June explained his design to Hyeri. She asked sharp questions that showed she was really trying to understand. Though she still seemed doubtful, she wasn't dismissive like the others. Your methods are unusual, she said finally. But there is logic to them. Perhaps your presentation tomorrow will go better if you focus on the practical applications rather than the theory. Thank you, June said. But I don't think it will matter. They've already decided not to take Earth seriously. Hyeri's lower eyes narrowed. Perhaps. But ideas should be judged on their merit, not their source. As she walked away, June felt a little better. At least one alien had actually listened. Later that night, June couldn't sleep. He sat in his room, looking at the model of his ship. The Phoenix wasn't pretty, but it worked in ways the aliens couldn't imagine. If only he could show them instead of just telling them. His screen lit up with an incoming message. The text scrolled across in emergency red, urgent, mining colony XB7 damaged by asteroid impact, atmospheric regulators failing, nearest Confederation ships 18 hours away. Colony has 12 hours of air remaining, all vessels with rescue capability. Requested to respond. June checked the location of XB7. It was a small mining outpost on the edge of an asteroid field, about 10 hours away at standard speeds. Too far for a rescue. Unless... June's heart began to race. His ship, the Phoenix, was already built. It was sitting in the station's hangar, ready for a demonstration run tomorrow. But its systems were designed for exactly this kind of situation. He quickly sent a message to the emergency control center, then one to Taiho. This was a chance. A terrible chance, born from danger, but a chance nonetheless. A chance to show what human engineering could really do. June looked out the small window of the transport ship. The massive space station grew larger as they approached. It looked like a giant metal flower with 6 huge petals stretching out from the center. Tiny lights covered its surface, and ships, of all shapes and sizes, moved around it like busy insects. Nexus Station, the pilot announced. Home to the greatest minds in the galaxy. June nodded but said nothing. He checked his worn jacket and smoothed back his dark hair. Unlike the other passengers who wore fancy clothes with moving patterns and glowing parts, June wore simple Earth clothes. His only special item was a small metal pin showing Earth's flag, the newest member of the Galactic Confederation. First time at the summit? Asked a tall, thin alien next to him. Its skin was pale blue and it had 3 pairs of eyes stacked vertically. Yes, June said. First human engineer to be invited. The alien's top pair of eyes blinked. How interesting. The Confederation does enjoy its charity cases. Before June could answer, the ship docked with a soft bump. The doors opened and the passengers moved toward the exit. June grabbed his simple black bag and followed. The main hall of Nexus Station was enormous. The ceiling curved high above, showing a perfect view of the stars. Hundreds of different aliens walked around, talking in many languages. Lights floated in the air, guiding different groups. June found the light marked Earth Delegation and followed it. The light led him to a small room where another human stood, looking at a screen. The man turned and smiled. June, you made it, he said, walking over to shake June's hand. Taiho, June said with surprise. I didn't know you'd be here. Taiho grinned. Someone has to represent Earth officially. When I heard you got invited to present, I made sure they assigned me as the government liaison. The two had studied together years ago before Taiho joined Earth's diplomatic corps. While June had stayed on Earth-building ships, Taiho had spent the last 5 years working with aliens. How bad is it? June asked quietly. Taiho's smile faded. Pretty bad. The Viridians are leading the push to reclassify Earth as a developing world instead of a full member. If that happens, we lose access to the good trade routes and technology sharing. And my presentation? If it goes well, it helps our case. If not, Taiho shrugged. A chime sounded throughout the station. That's the call for the welcome reception, Taiho said. Ready to meet the galaxy's brightest minds? June nodded, though his stomach tightened with nerves. The reception hall was filled with aliens of all types. Some floated in the air, some moved on many legs, and others rolled around on wheels. Servers carried trays of strange foods and drinks. Remember, Taiho whispered as they entered. Be polite, be humble, but don't let them push you around. Earth needs to show strength too. June tried to smile at the aliens he passed, but most ignored him or gave him strange looks. He took a drink from a passing server, something blue that bubbled, and found a quiet spot near a window. Excuse me, said a voice behind him. Are you the human engineer? June turned to see a short, stocky alien with thick gray skin and 6 finger-like appendages on each hand. Yes, I'm June from Earth. Fascinating, the alien said. I'm Professor Lent, from Rigel. I study primitive technologies. Your combustion engines are a particular interest of mine. Such a quaint way to achieve thrust. June's smile grew tight. We've moved well beyond simple combustion, Professor. Oh, of course, Lent said quickly. Still, compared to quantum displacement or gravity manipulation, well, you understand. Before June could respond, the alien wandered off, already looking for someone else to talk to. Don't mind him, Taiho said, appearing at June's side. Come on, there are some people you should meet. Taiho led him through the crowd toward a group of tall, elegant aliens with shimmering green skin. They had long necks and 4 arms each. The Viridians, Taiho whispered. The most advanced engineers in 3 sectors. Be respectful. As they approached, June could hear the aliens talking. And then they tried to explain how their rocket boosters work, one was saying, followed by a sound like bells that must have been laughter. As if we haven't moved beyond physical propellants for 10,000 years. The group noticed the humans approaching and went quiet. Chief Engineer Moat, Taiho said with a small bow. May I introduce June, Earth's representative to the engineering summit. The tallest Viridian looked down at June. Its 4 eyes blinked. Sequence? Ah yes, the Earth Engineer. The way Mott said Earth Engineer made it sound like child playing with toys. We were just discussing propulsion methods. Perhaps you'd care to join? Though I fear much of it may be beyond your understanding. June felt his face grow hot, but he kept his voice calm. I'd be honored to learn from the Viridians. Earth has much to learn. Indeed you do, said Mott. Though I question the wisdom of including such a young species in our summit at all. No offense intended, of course. It's just that the gap between your technology and ours is vast. We all started somewhere, June said. Even the Viridians, I imagine. One of the smaller Viridians made the bell-like laughing sound. He has spirit, at least. Spirit doesn't design efficient ships, Mott said. Tell me, Earth Engineer, what will you be presenting at the summit? Some variation on your ion drives, perhaps? June thought about the ship he had designed, the ship that waited in the station's hangar, the ship that broke all the rules the aliens thought were fixed. Something a bit different, June said. Something new. Mott's upper eyes narrowed. New? From Earth? How intriguing. I look forward to your presentation then. It should be educational for all of us. The way he said it made it clear. He expected to be educated on how not to design a ship. Thank you, June said. I hope it will be. The conversation moved on, and June stood quietly, listening as the aliens discussed engineering concepts far beyond Earth's current technology. Some of it he understood. Earth scientists had theorized about such things, but much of it was new. He tried to memorize terms and ideas to research later. As the reception wound down, Taiho led June back to the Earth quarters. That could have gone worse, Taiho said. They think we're jokes, June said. Yes, Taiho agreed. But tomorrow, you get to show them they're wrong. He patted June on the shoulder. Get some rest. Tomorrow's a big day. In his small room, June looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, still new to the galactic community. still finding its place. They think humans are primitive, he said to himself. They haven't seen what we can do when our backs are against the wall. He pulled out a small device and projected the schematics for his ship. It didn't look like the elegant alien ships, with their smooth lines and advanced materials. His ship looked rough, practical, and very human, and it was going to change everything.